Hello, welcome back to the Grape Explorer. Now, some people in life aspire to be leaders of industry. Some people in life aspire to a higher learning and true enlightenment. I, on the other hand, am at this point just looking for a good wine in a can. I've had very mixed success so far, but I have got two new ones to try with me today. So we're going to go through a full tasting of a couple of cans of wine. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm the Grape Explorer. I do wine education, product reviews, and lots of tastings. So we're going to jump straight into these two now. I went to a local supermarket to get these two. This one was £3.49 and this one was a whopping £4.99. So we'll come on to what that means in terms of an overall bottle price in a moment. Both of these wines are rosé sparkling wines. This one's gone into a little bit more detail, which again I'll come on to when I taste that. I'm actually going to go through this one first. This is MIrabeau. It's by a company called Atelier, and it doesn't actually give any specifics around the grape varietals that have been used, other than to say it's a product of France, and that's as far as it's going to go. So it does say it's from the IGP Mediterranean, so south of France, rosé to go. So they're clearly thinking about this as something targeted towards someone on a train, at a picnic, for example, on the go suggests. Now I am going to pour it into my flutes to give it a bit of a chance to open up and so that we can go through it. So here we go, first one getting opened. I think canned wine suits sparkling more than still. I've done both on videos in the past. I think because you associate tins with kind of carbonated drinks, I think it's more suitable for that reason. Now I'm going to give it a fighting chance to try and impress me, so I'm going to pour it into my glass. But we're going to go through a full tasting, as we do on this channel with lots of other wines as well. Do you know, now that I've opened and poured this one, I realise this one isn't a sparkling wine at all. I actually thought it was a sparkling wine when I bought it. That's my mistake. This is a still rosé wine. So in the glass, this is a particularly pale salmon in colour. It's got that real kind of pink onion skin feel about it. Aroma intensity is medium minus. I'm not getting a huge amount off this one at the moment. It is pretty cold. I took them out of the fridge about half an hour ago. But aromas that are coming through are things like, I'm getting a little bit of a citrusy aroma, and then what I would say are quite underripe red fruits. If you think about things like red currants, which can be quite kind of acidic, cranberries as well, those are the sorts of things that are coming through on this particular one. But it does feel a little bit closed off at this point. So hopefully let's see what we can get on the taste. I've got my trusty blue cup here. On the palate, it's got some sharpness, which I would associate with some of those citrus fruits characteristics, but I was actually expecting a little bit more from the acidity, I have to say. Having had a sip, it's palatable, but it's not doing anything amazing for me. Now, like I say, I think this one was £3.50. The size of the can is 250 millilitres. So if we think about this from the perspective of a bottle of wine which holds 750 millilitres, essentially what they're doing is they're selling this wine for the equivalent of £10.50. So you do want to expect a certain type of quality starting to pay that much. So let's go through some of the characteristics. Like I say, acidity for me just isn't really there. I'm going to say medium minus for the acidity. Very light bodied. Flavours coming through are incredibly delicate. It's actually difficult to pick anything particularly overriding out about this one. Very subtle indeed, the flavours. Not unpleasant, but just not really flavourful. I would expect a little bit more. Incredibly refreshing, I would think, on a warm day. But overall, I'm not really blown away by it. It doesn't have any length whatsoever. You know, as soon as the wine has sort of been swallowed, I'm not really getting anything from it, and I'm a little bit disappointed as a result of that. So it's got really, for me, it hasn't got a great length. The length is poor, actually, in my opinion. Alcohol, again, not getting any sensation of alcohol. Trying to find alcohol content on this one. It says it's 13% alcohol by volume. I would expect at that level to get at least a little bit of a sensation of alcohol, and I just don't feel like I'm getting that. I think in the case of this rosé wine, my hunt for a good canned wine continues. A little bit let down by this one. So is it in balance? It is, in the perspective of nothing's really jumping out. You know, I can't say that the aromas are out of balance with the flavours because there's nothing great about either. It doesn't have any length, it's not intense or complex, and I would actually say this one, for £3.49 for 250 millilitres, is actually quite poor. I'm a little bit disappointed, I have to say, with this particular one, and I had expected perhaps a little bit more at this price point. So we're going to move on to the second one. Now, I'm really excited about the second one for a couple of reasons. One, it's an English one, so I'm already got my excitement, although I will not be biased in my opinions. And two, this is actually the first producer of canned wines in the UK. The company is called the Uncommon. They've got absolutely fantastic design, fantastic marketing idea with their designs on the cover of this one. They do a couple of different styles. This is their bubbly rosé. They've specifically called out that it's Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier in this one. Two grapes which were of course traditionally used in the production of things like champagne, you know, your rosé champagnes, your blanc de noirs. So yeah, looking forward to this one. The alcohol volume on this one's only 11.5%, and as I said at the start of the video, I paid £5 for this, which I think is quite a lot for a can of wine. Again, this is a 250 milliliter bottle, so if we translate that into a bottle of wine, we're talking about a £15 bottle of wine if we were to do like for like. So that means I've got quite high hopes for this one, and I really don't want to be disappointed. Now, what I will say is English wine, English sparkling wine in particular, has come on leaps and bounds in the last few years, and producers are really getting to grips with where the grapes do well, and what an English producer is able to produce over the last few years has drastically seen an increase in quality. There's certainly a lot more of it on the shelves now than there was before. They don't actually say where they have sourced these particular grapes from, which is a bit of a shame. It's the 2018 vintage, which in England was a particularly hot year, so these berries would have had a really good chance to ripen, so I'm hoping for some real flavour coming through. It has been carbonated, so it says it's carbonated semi-sparkling rosé wine. As we know, carbonated is the cheapest method for producing sparkling wine, but I think when it comes to it being in a tin, that's probably the most sensible way for the producers to work with it. So, like I say, looking forward to getting into the Uncommon Bubbly Rosé. Thought it would have more of a when I opened it than that, but never mind. I almost poured it into my blue cup there. That wouldn't have been good. So let's see what it's like on the pour. There we go. It's got some really nice appearance there. You can see some really beautiful spritz coming up on that one. The bubbles are jumping out of the glass. Absolutely lovely that was. So here we go. Please don't let me down, English wine. On the nose. Immediately, and I'm not just saying this because I'm English, this is what I'm getting. This offers up a lot more in terms of fruit characteristics straight away. It just smells fuller and rounder than the MIrabeau was previously. So aroma characteristics, I'm still going to say medium. I don't think they're particularly strong in any way, but they certainly created some characteristics that I felt was missing on the last one. And you're really starting to get a sense of strawberries, of raspberries, the faintest hint of some cherry in there, alongside some of those other red fruits that I got on the last one, you know, things like cranberry, things like red currant. But overall, this one comes across much more fruit forward than the previous one. And it is actually a really nice aroma, so taste. This one has the advantage, of course, of being sparkling. So you get that nice mousse effervescence going on in your mouth, absolutely fantastic. And it is nice, it is really good. And again, I'm not just saying this because I'm British, but it is really nice, really enjoyable, fantastic effervescence in the mouth. And the acidity here, And this is why I think English sparkling wine's doing so good. Those cooler climates keep the acidity nice and high. Acidity's fantastic. Still getting that watering sensation in the mouth. So let's go through some of the other characteristics. Really nice. Strawberries, raspberries on the palate. Good length. Still feeling the sensation of everything about that. Light-bodied. I would say medium plus acidity. I'd say medium plus length. The alcohol we know is 11.5%, and actually I would say the alcohol is low. I'm not getting any sensation of alcohol. But it's a really enjoyable drink, and I think I've probably been able to benefit more from the fact that I've been able to pour it in a glass. I'm still not sure when it comes to the canned wine market how they want people to drink it. I just don't think that has the same effect as actually being able to swirl it, enjoy it, drink it. I do think you miss something when it comes to wine in a can. And I get that these are created on the go. I mean, this one was you know, Prêt-à-Porter, yeah, ready to go, you know. I get that, but I do think there's something to be said for pouring it into a glass, giving it a chance to breathe a little bit before you enjoy it. And I think this one's all the better for doing that. So I'm not sold on canned wine as a market for on-the-go wine. I still think you need a vessel for which you can pour it in to enjoy it that little bit more. Overall on this one then, balance, yes, it is in balance. Lovely aromas, lovely taste, nothing's out of kilter, you know, nothing overrides the wine in any particular way. Excellent length, which I already said. Not particularly intense or complex, but for a canned wine, this is definitely the best one that I've had so far. So bravo to the Uncommon for coming up with something. And I think, you know, it is a really good statement from English wine. Now, I do think at £5 for a can, it is quite highly priced. And that may change over time, you know, that may come down. So I do think it's quite expensive. Having said that, the pricing for sparkling wines in the UK, they usually start from around £25 per bottle. So the fact that this is the equivalent of £15 per bottle isn't actually out of sorts with where the pricing's at for the rest of sparkling wine. So I do think we have to take our hats off to the Uncommon here for pricing something and creating a really good, enjoyable sparkling wine. So there we go, cans in a wine. I may have finally found one that I really enjoy. I didn't think I ever would. My hunt will continue to find a good still wine in a can. I haven't quite got there yet, but I will endeavour to try and find one in the future. For now, I'm going to enjoy my bubbly rosé. I'm going to say thanks ever so much for watching. Cheers, I'll see you all again soon.